Hello and welcome everyone on this official platform of Legacy IAS Academy. So what if I told you that the Middle East just witnessed a war that did not start with soldiers but with silence, with satellites and strategic missiles? Yes. And that the war did not end with surrender but with unanswered questions, fractured alliances, and a ghost of peace that haunts the region even now. So, welcome to a war not fought in the trenches but in the networks as well as in the shadows of, you can say, nuclear bunkers and secret proxy networks, and also decades over ideological hatred. A war between the two most volatile forces in modern geopolitics, that is Iran as well as Israel, that has just redefined the balance of power in the Middle East region. Ji haan, as you can see here, Ramin Jahan Beglu, he has written wonderful editorial in today's The Indian Express newspaper, as you can see here, and the headlines are After Iran-Israel War, a Different Middle East. Ji haan. So from the dramatic October 2024, which was a missile storm, to the Israel's clinical strike on Iran's nuclear heart, and also the silent but tense calculations of Trump. Clear? So in this, various leaders are involved like Donald Trump, then Khamenei, Putin, Xi Jinping. So this is not just a clash of nations but a battle of legacies, religion, strategy as well as survival. So in today's video, we are going to decode that how decades of proxy conflicts, global sanctions as well as geopolitical mind games, these things are culminated into a war that might just be the turning point of the 21st century. But what happened and why it happened and what comes next? So we break it all down with names as well as with background, everything. So stay with me till the end, because the Middle East, you know, is gone, and what rises in its place could reshape the world. So आज बहुत ही अच्छा एडिटोरियल आया. So what are the things which are there in the editorial? So what is this article about? First we need to understand this, what is there in the editorial. So let me tell you that this editorial discusses the recent war between Iran and Israel and how it has changed the political as well as military situation in the Middle East and what it means for the future of this region. So it also reflects on how hegemony, that is power dominance, as well as ideological rivalry, have shaped Iran's sanctions as well as Iran actions for last 40 years. तो इन सभी चीजों ने किस तरीके से ईरान के एक्शंस को बदला है. So first we are going to understand the background, which is also given in this editorial. So background, that why are Iran and Israel enemies? So here we need to understand the history, a short history. Now just try to understand the conflict between Iran and Israel is not just military, it is ideological also. And let me tell you that for 40 years, Iran's Shiite clerics and the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, as you can see here in the image, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard, they have viewed Israel as their main enemy. ये Israel को अपना main enemy मानते हैं. क्यों? Now try to understand. Iran believed that it was strong enough to fight both Israel as well as United States of America. ये ईरान का belief है. और ये belief कैसे आया ईरान में? So there was one war in from 1980 to 1988, and that is Iran-Iraq war. जी हाँ. So after the Iran-Iraq war, Iran became more confident as well as aggressive in spreading its influence across the Middle East region. Now, After that only, what was the Iran's strategy or military strategy of Iran? So let me tell you about the Iran's military strategy. Now, try to understand that Iran did not always fight directly. It used proxies, armed groups, we can say, with who are supported by Iran. And that proxy group means Triple H. Now, what is this Triple H? Hezbollah, Hamas and Houthis. Hezbollah, Hamas and Houthis. As you can see here, Hezbollahs are in Lebanon, Hamas, Palestine, Gaza region, Houthis in Yemen. So as you can see here this map, है ना? तो अब यहां पर हौदीज कहां पर है? इस रीजन में, हौदीज यमन में, है ना? हमस इन दिस रीजन, गाजा पैलेस्टीन रीजन. देन आप देख सकते हैं हियर हेजबुल्लाह इज देयर, लेबनान. क्लियर? तो दीज थ्री ग्रुप्स आर सपोर्टेड बाय ईरान. सो ईरान हमेशा से ही इनडायरेक्ट वॉर में उसके बाद रहा है. These are some proxy groups. Now, as you can see this image, Qasim Soleimani. Now, Qasim Soleimani, who was the head of Iran's Quds Force. Iran Quds Force, ये आपने सुना होगा QUDS, Quds Force. Now, Qasim Soleimani was the head of Iran's Quds Force. This is one of the special forces of Revolutionary Guard, Iran Revolutionary Guard unit. Okay, and this Qasim Soleimani was the mastermind of these proxy wars, which happened in Gaza, Palestine, which happened in Lebanon, then which happened in Syria also. He was the main person. Okay, now अब सोलेमानी के साथ क्या हुआ? As you can see here this image of Soleimani. Qasim Soleimani was assassinated by the United States of America in Iraq in 2020. So US assassinated him in 2020. So he was assassinated by United States of America where? In Iraq in 2020 during Donald Trump's first term presidency. Okay, now after this, what are the recent direct conflict between Iran as well as or Israel? Now, recent direct conflict between Iran and Israel, that is 2024 to 2025. तो अब आइए समझते हैं. Now, अब ये कहानी शुरू हुई recently from 1st of October 2024. Now, 1st of October 2024, Iran launched more than 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. जी हाँ, Iran has launched more than 180 ballistic missiles at Israel. Then after that, on 26th October 2024, उसके बाद क्या हुआ? Israel responded with 3 waves of strikes on Iran's military target. And the most important thing here is recent clash which is started between Iran and Israel. This time both the sides avoided. Now अब एक चीज हमेशा से याद रखनी होगी that earlier ईरान और इजराइल क्या करते थे? Earlier both the countries, that is Israel and you can say Israel and Iran, both the sides, they avoided attacking the civilians, army officers or highly sensitive installation. But recently what happened? They started attacking on the army officers also, civilian sites also. These things were there. So ये change आ गया. Now, what are the targets that hit by Israel in Iran recently? Now, as you can see here, so recently, with the support of US, Israel attacked these important sites: Isfahan, Natanz, and then Fordo. These 3 sites. So these are the nuclear facilities which are bombed by Israel: Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. So these are key Iranian nuclear enrichment sites. Now, after this, Israel support की अगर हम बात करें, so United States President Donald Trump fully supported Israel militarily also as well as politically. Now this made Israel attack stronger as well as bolder. Now, What is Iran's caution and dilemma? So let's try to understand about Iran's caution as well as dilemma. Now, Iran Supremo, जिनका नाम है Ayatollah Khamenei, है ना? Now, Ayatollah Khamenei, as you can see here, his image, Iran supreme leader, he was reportedly advised not to escalate further. And Iran was cautious also. Why? Why Iran was cautious? Because अब ये लग रहा था that Iran might run out of missiles as well as ammunition, just like it did in 1988 Iran-Iraq war. Then apart from this, Russia and China, अब अगर हम बात करें, so apart from this, Russia as well as China, who are Iran allies only, they did not support any extreme response like choosing, or you can say like closing the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz, which is a vital route, है ना? Strait of Hormuz, which is a vital oil route. Clear? Now, what is the role of Arab countries here? तो अब अरब कंट्रीज का रोल क्या है? सो लेट्स ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड द रोल ऑफ अरब कंट्रीज. फॉर एग्जांपल, Saudi Arab, UAE, Qatar, they try to reduce the tension between Iran as well as US. These countries do not support Iran's goal of dominating in the region because of sectarian conflict, Shia Sunni, है ना? And they are also worried because Iran's proxies as well as allies like Russia and China, they are now distant or weakened. Now, what will be the impact on Iranian people? I mean, सभी चीजों का impact क्या पड़ेगा Iranian people पे? So let's try to understand. So there are some possible impacts. First, Iranians, they may suffer. Why? Economic sanction from Trump. Economic sanctions from Trump. Maximum pressure campaign. Then Iran can also be, you can say, pressurized by the European Union. So EU sanctions over the human rights issues, nuclear threats, as well as military aid to Russia, like for Ukraine war. So these, because of these reasons, Iranians may suffer. So when you read this article, so there are some key questions which are raised in this editorial. Now, what are those key questions? First question here is, what are the consequences of Trump's military success in helping Israel? Second question, which you can analyze in the article is, will Iran still try to sign a nuclear deal with the US and EU? Third question, can the fragile ceasefire between the Iran and Israel hold? And the last question, which is there in this editorial, that will Iran's government crack down on its own people again, especially those questioning its leadership? So overall, we can say in this editorial, we can see that here is a bigger message. See, I would like to tell you, there is a bigger message in this editorial. First is, regime change in Iran now is very difficult. Second thing, although Iran's nuclear power has been damaged, the threat remains. Third important thing that we need to understand, that the events after the June 2025, it may shape a new political roadmap for the Middle East region. So overall, we have discussed in this editorial that Iran-Israel war of 2024 to 2025, it has reset the balance of power in the Middle East region. This has weakened you can say, Iran's military ambition, as well as it has also raised the crucial questions about the region's future, that is Middle East future. So overall, we can see that the war is over, but peace has not arrived. As smoke clears over Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan, but the world is left asking, Was this the final chapter or just the beginning of a darker ages? So Iran's nuclear dream is bruised but not broken, and Israel has delivered its message. But at what long-term cost? Trump's military triumph may echo in headlines, but can a ceasefire born from exhaustion, not agreement, ever hold? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, will the Iranian regime now turn its fire inwards, once again silencing its own people who dare to dream of change? As China and Russia recalibrate, Arab states hedge their bets, and the world tiptoes through the oil-rich Strait of Hormuz, one thing is clear, that the roadmap of the Middle East has cracked open. So the next steps which are taken by Tehran, Tel Aviv, or Washington will not just decide the fate of the region, they might just redraw the lines of the global power. So do not blink, because Iran post June 2025 is not the Iran of past. And what about Middle East? It has entered in its most dangerous chapter yet. So this is there in this editorial. I hope this much is clear to all of you. Thank you so much.